Hey! I was kidding! I didn't kill you! I just threw you a friendly punch!
No, not friendly.
I thought it was friendly! Alright. This is take 3 anyway. Welcome, one and all, to Superfox89's Creepypasta videos, episode 5. You can tell which one we're doing by the background noise. We're doing a Luigi's Mansion Creepypasta. I'll put a link to the person's channel that made this. I'll also put a link to the original, to the Creepypasta itself. Anyway, the story's gonna be about somebody named Austin and his bad experience with this. Anyway, here we go. Austin was rummaging through his old house in search of items he held close to him during his childhood. He found his Nintendo GameCube and began to reminisce about all the fun games that he used to have for it. He recalled that his favorite game was Luigi's Mansion. Eager to find the game and play it again, he searched for it until nightfall. Many games were found, but it was just his luck that he didn't find the one he wanted. He went back home and plugged his GameCube up to see if it even powered up. It did, and not until he booted up the main screen that the GameCube plays if no disc is inserted did he realize that he actually had his old memory card in the front of it. Because he was longing to play the game, he checked to see if his save file of Luigi's Mansion was still there. It was, but not under the name of the game. Instead, it read, "Good night," which was what it played when you died in the game. The icon of the game was still there and completely normal, so he didn't think any more about it. He went to bed and woke up the next day with an even stronger urge to play the game. He went to the local game store and asked for Luigi's Mansion, but they did not have it in stock. He had the same results with every other store he checked, and it began to anger him. He then resorted to what every other person with internet does when they want something: check eBay. Oddly enough, there was but one person selling the game. He had posted pictures of the disc, and it looked like it was in perfect condition with a few minor scratches on the back. Austin decided to buy it, and it arrived at his house several days later. Filled with anticipation to relive his childhood, he tore open the envelope and got the game out. He flipped it over to look at the back, and the scratches didn't seem to be in the same position they were in the picture. Upon closer inspection, he almost thought the scratches made out a word: "Good night." Ignoring this, he put the game in and began to play it. The regular main menu screen opened up, but he realized that there was only one save file instead of 3 like normal. The save file was up to Area 4, which implied that he had either beaten the game or was close to it. Something odd caught his eye before he selected the game. The boo counter that told him how many boos he had caught said 50-50, but the boo's body was gone. Only the red eyes were left, which usually only appeared on King Boo. He selected the game, only to be killed immediately. "Good night," said the game in almost a whisper. It was odd, especially because the game had never read it aloud before, or at least not that he remembered. There was a power surge, and he had to reboot his GameCube. Out of curiosity, he checked the memory card for the save file again. The icon of Luigi had a horrified face that almost looked as if he was melting. Once again, it still read, "Good night." He went back to the game and selected the only save file once more. He was immediately spawned into the final boss battle, which again never happened. No matter what, Luigi always is supposed to spawn in the main room. Bowser fell from the sky like usual, but something was different. He was more demonic looking, with longer and sharper horns, and his yellowish skin was now a dark red. Bowser let out a scream and the battle began. No matter what Austin did, he was unable to evade any of Bowser's attacks. He died almost instantly, and again the game read goodnight in a slightly lower pitched voice. It was clear this time, and no longer a whisper. Again his power surged. He hoped that it didn't happen again, because usually if the power surges 3 times, it goes out. He booted the game back up and checked the memory card. Luigi's neck was all that was shown. The game save read cursed. As much as he didn't want to, he booted up the game once more. The boot counter now had strange characters inside of numbers. Instead of 50-50, it was more like weird symbol block. I don't know those symbols, sorry. Anyway, moving on. The red eyes were now gone, and in its place was Bowser's head, bloodied and eyes sunk deep into the sockets. Austin clicked the file and began to play it. It was normal this time. He spawned in the main room and checked his map. All the places were unlocked, but one room was dark red with the words "Good night" on it. Words never appeared on the map, so out of curiosity he began to go there. On the very top floor, he opened the door. The walls were red, with blood splatters everywhere. Portraits of demonic ghosts were everyone, and one was rattling. It was the portrait of the most evil-looking Bowser that Austin had ever seen. He set it up using the Poltergeist 3000, and immediately Luigi's health shrank to 0. The game screamed, "Good night!" The power went completely out at his house, but his TV was left on. A frightening image was shown. It was him, except his face was melting and dripping down his body. He screamed and was instantly knocked to the ground. Someone was standing over him, but he couldn't see as everything was a blur. "Good night," it said, and Austin was knocked lifeless, slamming against the wall. Neighbors claimed to have heard a loud, almost alien-sounding scream, almost as if someone had edited it using an unnecessary amount of reverb. One neighbor was outside on his afternoon jog, and he actually saw the lights go out in Austin's house. His story goes like this. The lights went completely out, and then a flash of green shone through the windows. I heard Austin scream in panic, and then a bump. I went up to his house to see if I could help, but it sounded like he was in danger. As I turned the doorknob, it was almost as if someone whispered "good night" to me. I walked in, and no one was there. Only a very small disc, which looked to be a video game. It was green and had the name Luigi's Curse. I began to explore around, and that is where I found Austin, lifeless, a look of horror frozen on his face, a scar on his forehead that almost resembled a dinosaur of some sort. I called 911. He was announced dead on the spot. Professionals and doctors claim that Austin died of a heart attack. Maybe it was, and maybe it wasn't. I guess it's really up to you to decide. One puzzling factor, though, was that scar on his forehead. No one seems to remember him having it, but it was sure there now. His family decided that he should be cremated and his ashes kept. As he was being cremated, however, the person noticed that it was almost as if his skin from his head had turned to liquid and was dripping down his sides. From the crackling fire, it was almost as if he heard, "Good night." I really don't know what the heck to rate that yet. Oh no. For a creepypasta, that was actually not bad. Better than some of the other ones I have seen on YouTube. Personally, I grew up with playing Luigi's Mansion myself, but I had never heard of this story. Someone had to have come up with this over the past couple of years. Whoever did, trust me, they did a darn good job of it. If I had to rate this, it would probably be an 8.5. Well, actually, maybe an 8. I don't know. Somewhere around there. 8.25 there. Honestly, they did this thing where it led up to the conclusion. I like the fact that they led up to the horror slowly and steadily. That's what I like when I read a creepypasta. And but as far as the only one copy goes, highly doubt that. I mean, heck, you can check online right now. I bet they have a ton of copies of this game, and definitely none that have scratches on it that read out the words "good night," unless somebody was a funny guy and decided to do that to the disc. Alright, anyway, that will wrap up this episode of Superfox89's Creepypastas. I will see you in the next episode. Good day. Or as the story says,